Hi, I'm Amy and I'm Cub and Tribe. I specialise in pregnancy yoga and postnatal yoga, both with and without baby, and also women's at any stage postnatally onwards. And today we're going to do a short postnatal mum and baby session. You do not have to have your baby with you to do this session. You might be lucky enough that you're able to do it while they're asleep. But if you have got them with you, I'm going to include baby in this and show you how you can involve them. If you haven't got baby with you, I'll also explain how you can change up your movements to allow for that also. So hopefully you are, whether you've got baby or not, you've got the opportunity to have just a little bit of a brief relaxation at the beginning. I'm not expecting us to be able to get into a long relaxation because I know that one, you might not have much time, and two, you might have a little baby who's gazing at you while you're doing it. So what I suggest that you do is, if you've got baby with you, just laying your hands onto them and then finding yourself a comfortable seated position and closing your eyes, or if you feel uncomfortable closing your eyes, then looking down through your lashes so you can still see what's going on, but you're being able to block out a little bit of the outside world. If you're lucky enough to be practicing without baby, then of course you can lay your hands wherever feels comfortable and close your eyes. And we're going to take 2 deep breaths in, big exhales. And now this might sound strange, we're going to try and breathe in, inhaling as if we're inhaling into the pelvic floor. So as the diaphragm goes down, the pelvic floor goes down. As the diaphragm's released, the pelvic floor is released. So as you inhale, imagine that breathing all the way down deep into your pelvic floor. And then as you exhale, that being released. Just a few breaths like this. Okay, and then taking your hands, giving them a squeeze in and a release. Same with the feet, giving them a squeeze in and a release. Then just steadying the breath, slightly longer exhale, letting the shoulders drop. And then we're going to come into a head roll, chin to chest. Our shoulders and neck are always a big complaint, particularly with breastfeeding or bottle feeding or just holding and carrying baby. So we want to take a time to hold our neck. If there's somewhere that we feel needs stretching out, count of 3 or 4 or longer if needed. Just allowing yourself to hold that and stretch that area of tension before coming back into that head roll. And changing direction if you haven't already. And then bringing your head back to center. Now these first movements while we're seated are suitable for anyone for any stage postnatally. As we come onto all fours or onto our backs, it might be that you want to take care with how far postnatally you are. So from 6 weeks for a vaginal birth and 8 weeks for an abdominal birth, that's when it's safe to do all of these moves in this session. If you are more recently postnatal than that, then stick to the seated moves and dip out of the other moves that come a little bit later on. Okay, so we're going to start off by taking our legs out either side of baby, or if you haven't got baby, taking them out wide. And then we are going to bring the arms up high. We're going to push the backs of the hands against the ceiling. We're going to take a deep inhale. We're going to hinge forwards over baby, and if they're there, we're going to bring our fingertips all the way from top to toe, leaving one hand on the foot. We're going to raise our arms back up again, and then we're going to hinge forwards. The reason for doing this is just it helps with their proprioception. It's a really nice feeling for them, but we don't want to leave our hands off them if they're very little for too long. So we're only leaving our hands off for a few seconds before we hinge over. If baby is not there and you've got baby asleep, you can come and bring your hands just across the floor from the toes back towards your body. And one last one, stretching really high up, pushing against that ceiling and hinging and coming forwards. Okay, now I always recommend having baby on a blanket because it means you can slide them about a little bit more easily. We're going to bring our feet back together. We still want to keep one leg in front of the other so we haven't got the ankles crossed, just to keep blood flow going around the ankles. And we're going to take a little bend forwards. Now you can come forwards on fingertips, you can come forwards on flat palms, or if you haven't got baby there or you've got enough room, you can come forwards onto forearms and just let the head hang. Then we're going to take that over to the left-hand side. So we're going to walk the hands over. If it feels comfortable to lay the torso across the thigh, then do so. We're going to walk ourselves back to centre, and then we're going to take ourselves over to the left-hand side. And then we're going to walk ourselves centre and back up again. Now we're going to come into some side bends. We're going to start off with a flat palm, so sliding the palm away from us. Exhaling as we come over, inhaling as we come up, and taking that palm as far away from the body as feels comfortable. We want to activate the core a little bit more. We're going to come onto fingertips, and the bend will be slightly less in terms of time, but we're just beginning to start to activate that pelvic floor. Okay, next we're going to focus on shoulders. So we're going to bring those forearms together. We're going to inhale as we bring them up, and exhale, bring those shoulder blades back and down together. Take your time with this. Make it a nice slow move where you can really get into those shoulder blades, because they are spending a lot of time hunched over in this kind of position, and we want to try and bring them back on themselves. This is a lovely one to do as well after feeding baby, maybe just 10 of them, just to kind of readdress that balance across the back and the shoulders. Okay, now we're going to take the hands, interlink them, push the back of the hands up towards the ceiling. You can have your gaze up towards your hands or down towards your feet, whichever one feels more comfortable. Pressing the back of hands away, and then we're going to move them in front of us, pushing the backs of the hands away against the wall opposite. And then we're going to bring them down towards baby. Okay, and then release. Now we're going to do a little seated pigeon. So we're going to come, place our palms behind us, cross our ankle over our knee, and then you can have yourself as far away or as close to your heel as feels comfortable. When you've got into the position that you're comfortable in, we're going to send this knee towards the floor a little bit and open up the hip. Just taking a few deep breaths in this position. Okay, Okay, then releasing that leg, switching over sides. You might find that one side is stiffer than the other. We often favour one side over the other, particularly when we're carrying babies. And so we might find that we're slightly misaligned. So just see if you need to shift position of the foot or the heel. And then when you're comfortable, again, taking that knee towards the floor. And just a few deep breaths. Okay, bringing that back down, coming to whatever leg position is comfortable for you. We're going to do a little seated cat-cow. So you're going to have hands on the knees. We'll inhale up, chin to ceiling. Exhale, bring those shoulders forwards. Just going with your breath. Rolling those shoulders back a couple of times. We're now going to come into all fours. So if your baby's asleep in front of you, you may want to just leave them where they are. If you have got an awake baby, you may wish to bring them to the top of your mat so that your face is going to be over their face during this next sequence of moves. So just sliding them in front of you, and then you're going to come onto all fours. And you're going to place your hands either side of baby if they are there with you. And then you're going to take your knees so they're underneath the hips. And giving them a nice big smile before you start, knowing that you're there. We're going to take an inhale, arch the back. We're going to exhale over the heels. And then we're going to inhale, scoop up and across baby. Giving them kisses if they're enjoying that. Ooh, this is Bobby, by the way. Doesn't give me much of a reaction, unfortunately. Now, if you haven't got baby here, just mentioning this, if you've got all the space in the world in front of you, what you might want to do is say move, inhale, exhale over the heels, and then take it nice and low on the way back up. It's just a really nice way to get into that middle back that often is a bit of a problem because of feeding, holding, carrying, rocking baby. You just get a little bit of a deeper move in that case. Then we're going to sit back, take the legs wide, and we're going to walk our hands forward, taking the arms long. Pushing the palms into the ground, sending the bottom towards the heels. If baby's still up by where my hands are in your space, then just be careful of the hair, because this is when they tend to like to grab it. Okay, and then coming back up again. Now from here, we're going to come onto our right hand, our right knee, and then we're going to take our left foot long. And what you basically want to do, you might not be able to get it exactly in line if you've got baby here. In an ideal world, we'd have all of that body in one complete exact line, but I'm very aware that when we've got baby here, it means we might need to just shift ourselves slightly so that we've got everything in line. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the arm high, we're going to take a couple of deep breaths. And then on our exhale, we're going to curl under, and we can just give baby a little tickle on the way round. Show them that we're still paying them a bit of attention. And then if you're feeling okay with this, what we're going to do is we're going to raise the foot as we raise the arms. We're going to bring the arm up, and we're also going to bring the foot up. And we'll bring them down together. Now, if you're noticing like massive pelvis tilts during this, so if you really feel like this is moving left, right, and centre, bring the foot back down again and keep your curls with foot down. But if you're feeling okay, you can raise that foot up as you go. Okay, then coming back down over baby. We're going to come other side for that one. Okay, so I'm going to show you other side now. I'm going to move around so that I'm not facing away from you. You can stay where you are. And again, we're going to just find ourselves, this time left hand, left knee, and then right foot out to the end. And we want to try and get ourselves vaguely in line as much as possible. It's not going to do any terrible damage to us if we don't. But what we want to do is try and get that nice front line. And then we're going to bring the arm up to the ceiling. We're going to take a couple of deep breaths. And on our second exhale, we're going to curl under. Again, if you've got a little scarf, you can always have that in your hand and bring it down over and across baby or their favourite toy. If you're lucky enough to have baby asleep, you've got all the space in the world. And again, if you feel comfortable and the pelvis feels fairly steady, as you come up, you can bring that leg up and bringing it back down as you bring the hand down. And again, if you notice the pelvis really tilting, you might want to put that toe back down again. Just keep it down as you raise for your next one. Coming back down, hand down, knee and turning, and then taking the legs wide, minding your hair again, and coming down low. Again, if you want to get into that middle back, pushing the hands into the ground, sending the tailbone towards the heels. And then coming back up again. Now we're going to do a set of push-ups here that aren't going to be too much. They're mainly on your arms, so you're not having to engage that core, which we want to do really gently at the beginning, particularly postnatally, because we want to strengthen it and not put too much pressure on. So we just want to make sure, again, we've got shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and then we're going to bring our head down between our thumbs. So wherever that happens to be on baby. And you can have toes tucked or you can have toes flat for this one. Inhaling up, exhaling down. And if you're feeling confident and your arms feel strong, what you can do instead on the exhale is bring yourself down just kind of above the fingertips instead. And just do as many of these as feels comfortable, and you can always come back to between the thumbs if it's feeling like it's a bit much. Or you could alternate, depending on what feels good. Okay, coming back, sitting, releasing the wrists slightly. We're then going to come into what I would kind of term as like a mini plank. And you are able to decide for yourself how much core effort you want to put into this. So if you are recently postnatal and you haven't been doing any core exercise, I suggest taking it very gently. If you've been practicing exercise for quite a while post-birth and your core feels strong, you can take this to wherever you feel comfortable. So again, coming into that all fours, showing you kind of like step one, we would take the knees back a step, and then we would bring the shoulders back over the wrists. We'd hold that for 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 rounds of breath, whichever you feel okay with. And then we're going to push ourselves back. Not quite child's pose, but we're just going to stretch out that back. And then when we feel comfortable, come back with the shoulders over the wrists. And if that's feeling okay and you want more, you can walk those knees back a little bit further. So for example, you could just take them an extra step back. And again, in between, pushing back. And then if it feels too much, you just walk them in a little bit closer. And again, in between, just pushing back and releasing. Okay, and again, coming up and releasing off the wrists. We're next going to come back to the floor, lying on our backs. So for this one, you can have baby on you, on your chest, or sitting against your knees if you prefer. Or if they're sleeping or they're happy, you might want to just come and slide them kind of next to you here. So I will show you with baby on me, but you can do it however is best for you today. For these particular ones, you can actually have a very low pillow under the head if that's preferred. We wouldn't want anything bigger than this really though, so I wouldn't recommend a bolster or anything significant because we don't want to strain the neck. So a very low pillow or a blanket just folded over will be totally fine. Okay. So we're going to come down onto our backs. Now, if you have got baby and you want them on you, or they want to be on you, then you need to roll to the side, hold baby underneath the arms, bring them up towards you, and then either have them on your chest, or if they're a bit bigger, they might be happy sitting against your knees. So, one hand on baby all the time if you've got them on you. If you haven't got baby with you, you can come and place both hands by the hips for this. And what we want to do is we want to just check our pelvis. So we want to tilt our pelvis towards the sky. And then we want to rock it down towards the floor. And we want to alternate, filling that big gap at the lower back as we tilt the pelvis down, and then as we tilt it towards the sky, feeling that flat back. And where we want to end up is somewhere in between those two extremes. So just knowing where they are, giving that pelvis a little bit of an alignment, and then coming to a happy medium. Now a lot of the effort's going to be placed into the feet for this. So we're going to inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to push the feet into the ground, and we're going to raise the bottom up, creating kind of a diagonal line between the knees and the shoulders. So deep inhale, exhale, feet to the floor. Inhale at the top. Exhale, roll the spine back down again. Okay, and then again, deep inhale. Exhale, feet to the floor, roll up. Inhale at the top. Exhale, roll that spine back down again. Now, if you want a little bit extra, and you haven't got baby with you, you can do this with hands, palms facing, elbows to the floor, or you could have your arms straight up, palms together. That would be another way of increasing the effort that you're putting in rather than relying quite so much on the upper body. So your core is being activated, transverse abs, much more so in this position. So that's one option. Or if you'd rather have your hands on the floor or your hands are on baby, what you can do for a little extra is inhale, exhale, roll up. You can take a toe up to the ceiling, you can bring it back down, and then you can roll the spine back down. And you would alternate leg to leg. So you can choose between those options. Now we're going to do a little tilt to one side to get into a nice twist. So if you have got baby on your knees for this one, you might want to either come and place them on your chest, or you might want to come and roll them onto the mat beside you so that you have got a bit more space. We're going to take the knees over to the right hand side, and we're going to take the left ankle and hook it over, roll it so the sole of the foot is on the floor. Now arms, you've got a few options. You can just keep them on the body if that's preferred, or you can take them up into cactus and get a nice chest opening. Ideally, you're going to take the head and you're going to look the opposite direction to the legs. Try and let that knee sink further, that hip open. And then we're going to rock back to center and we're going to switch over sides. So we're going to take the knees to the left, again hooking that ankle over the knee, letting the sole of the foot to the floor, keeping the arms in whatever position's comfortable and taking the gaze the opposite side to the knees. And rocking back up again. Now for this one, you can have baby on you, or you can have baby to the side. We are going to bring the legs into butterfly though, so if you're going to have baby on you, you want them on your chest, not tilted backwards. We're just going to let the feet come together, soles of the feet, and then take the legs as far away or as close to the bottom as feels good for your hips and your hip flexors. And then again, either place the hands on the body, or you can take the arms up and long, or you could bring the arms back into cactus if you prefer. So just find where feels good. Let the shoulders drop. 3 deep breaths. And then bring those knees together. If you haven't got baby with you, you can just bring the knees up, clasp them with the hands, and you can have a little rock to that lower back, both side to side, and you could even take the legs up, alternately stretching sole of the foot to the ceiling, like so, before coming back to a rock. If you've got baby with you and you think they'd enjoy it, at this stage you can bring them onto your calves and you can get that same little rock effect, but they get a bit of a flying baby as well. Not recommended straight after a feed, unless you fancy something all over your face. And then if you fancy a little bit more for the arms, you can bring them up, you can lower them down. And you can even, if you don't take it too far, take them a little bit over the head and then back again. Our Bobby's weighted to a 4-month-old baby and I can already feel that weight as I'm taking him backwards, so we don't want to take it too far. Sliding them back onto the knees. And then when you're ready, either bringing them down to your chest or again, just rolling them back to the floor. Take your legs long, heels to the ends of the corners of your mat. Arms to wherever is a comfortable position, either at your sides, on your body, or up high. And we just want to take about 6-7 rounds of deep breaths. If baby's next to you and needs hand on, just take a little part of them, let them know you're there. Now, obviously, you'll feel free to stay in this position as long as baby will allow it. But if you are short for time, we're going to wrap up now. And a good way of getting up without having to use that core that might not be that stable after birth is to grab hold of one knee, swing the leg up, and then raise yourself to sitting. And you can just finish off with a little bit of that shoulder rotation. And hopefully that will see you right for the day.